A tiny numbat with little idea of the big job ahead.
Oh, look at all those people.
One of 19 numbats born at Perth Zoo earlier this year. Now just shy of their first birthdays, they're bundled into a troop carrier and driven 5 hours northeast of Perth. It's a huge joint effort aimed at saving the species from extinction.
There's less than 1,000 left across Australia. There are twice as many giant pandas as there are numbats. So it is one of Australia's, it's one of the world's rarest animals.
It's scary, it's a bit of a shame. They're such a unique and stunning animal. It would be a real shame if we lost them permanently.
Perth zookeeper Hannah Killian says unlike this adventurous little guy, numbats are typically shy, solitary animals. They only come together once a year to reproduce, and even then, there's just a 2-day window when they're receptive to a mate.
They're very solitary animals. They only come together really briefly during the breeding season, which is from December to about February, and then they're split off again, so spend most of the year alone.
Numbats used to exist in the wild in the tens of millions, but in the 1980s their numbers got as low as 300. Their population decimated mainly by feral cats and foxes, leaving the animal emblem of WA listed as endangered.
Before European settlement, they were distributed across the entire southern part of the country, all the way up to the border with Northern Territory. Now they just survive in a couple of isolated populations.
I think if we lose the numbat, if we lose the bilby, if we lose these other really endangered animals, then yes, we lose a part of what it is to be Australian.
Atticus Fleming oversees the Australian Wildlife Conservancy, which owns WA's largest fully fenced feral animal free zone, the Mount Gibson Wildlife Sanctuary, where these little numbats are about to be released.
To protect Mount Gibson, we've built 40 odd kilometres of a special purpose cat-proof fence, so it's 6 feet high, has an overhang, electric wires, everything you need to keep cats away from these precious numbats.
And the big days arrived. They're photographed. Each stripe pattern is individual, like our fingerprints. 9 are also fitted with radio collars, so they can be tracked after their release.
The science we need to sort of unlock the secrets to survival for the numbat.
It's late afternoon when, one by one, the numbats are set free. Released into logs identified as safe shelters for their first night solo.
Beautiful habitat, beautiful woodlands, all of the termites that you need for numbats to survive. And we expect the numbat population at Mount Gibson to grow to about 240. So that's a 25% increase in the world population, which is massive.
Still, it's a bittersweet day for carers who've watched over them since they were newborns.
There's a sad moment where you've been with them since they were just jelly bean size to now, and they're basically young adults, and it's a bit hard to let them go, but at the same time it's really rewarding. The aim of the program is to get them back out into the wild.
Perth Zoo's captive breeding program has helped release 200 numbats to the wild in 20 years, to parts of South Australia and New South Wales, as well as at Mount Gibson.
Mount Gibson's an incredibly special place. It's a bit like stepping back in time, because you are then in the bush, really as it was 100 odd years ago. The mammals are back there. The feral animals are not there, so as the sun sets, the bush really comes alive with all of the animals that we've reintroduced.
Ideally, with the captive breeding program, one day we won't need it and they'll just be able to survive in the wild without our help.
The news is so far looking good for Mount Gibson's newest numbat residents.
All the 9 that were radio collared have been tracked and found, so they're still doing well, and hopefully the other ones are as well.